So I am wrapping up the last few hours of my first solo trip ever. I just spent 5 days in Mexico by myself. Um, and it's interesting because as I started off this year, I talked a lot about one of the things that I really wanted to focus on learning more about was self-love. And one thing that I wrote an article for Medium earlier this year, and I was talking about how one of the components of self-love is just like spending time with yourself and connecting or reconnecting with yourself. And when I was writing the article, I was talking more about like take yourself to a coffee shop or go to the movies by yourself or go to dinner by yourself. But going on a trip by yourself where you are just with yourself was a bit of a far reach for me, but it's something that I wanted to do for many reasons. A lot of people were really hesitant about me going, were really nervous about me going. A lot of people said I would never do that, or I could never do that, or that just sounds boring or scary, or what are people gonna think, and all these things. And yeah, a lot of that crossed my mind. Sometimes leading up to the trip, I was thinking maybe I should just invite someone with me, and I kind of did like these like soft invitations of like, oh, do you want to come? And then even like 24 hours before, I contemplated just like not getting on the plane. Not because I was afraid for my safety, but it was just the matter of like, what's gonna happen, or what am I gonna do, or who am I gonna talk to, or like, I started feeling all these things, and the reality is, it's just that we don't spend enough time alone, or I don't. Like, I spend a lot of time alone because when I get home from work, I'm exhausted, so I just go to bed. But like really spending active time with yourself and being in your own company, I think that's something that we don't do a lot of. But what I learned over this course of the 5 days was, one, it allowed me to be 100% selfish. Which I never am. I'm a person who is always thinking of others, always putting others before me, always sacrificing my needs and my wants and my desires for others. And I say that not as like a woe is me thing, it's just kind of who I am, and I'm okay with that. I mean, in the industry that I'm in health and wellness, so of course that's a big part of it, right? But I was able to be 100% selfish with my time. I did exactly what I felt like doing, and at any given moment, if I changed my mind and wanted to do something else, it was okay. I didn't have to ask for permission or worry about hurting people's feelings, or stay longer in a situation that I needed to because I was trying to please other people. I literally just, everything was just as it came. Like in that moment, I want to take a nap. I want to go back to my room. I want to go to the beach. I want to go for a walk. I want to go do this. So it was just refreshing, and it was like little synapses in my brain were like firing off because I was able to just do whatever I wanted to do, and on no one's time limit, on no one's commitments, and it was just me honoring my commitments to myself. And it's hard to do that in your day-to-day life, and it's hard to do that when you're considering other people's feelings and emotions and whatever. So that was the first thing, and it felt so good. It felt so good just to do whatever it is I felt like doing, and it was great. So the first thing was just like being selfish. I think the second thing that really kind of resonated with me was also just silence. I spent a lot of time just not speaking. And I speak a lot, I talk a lot, I interact with people a lot. And it really helped me to kind of savor the silence. And it also made the words that I did speak to others that much more impactful and that much more powerful and meaningful, because I wasn't speaking to people, perfect example. I would go to dinner by myself every night, and I told myself that for dinner in particular, I would not order room service. I would go to one of the fancy restaurants, I would get dressed, do my makeup, do my hair, go ask for a table for one, request to sit outside so I could catch a nice view, and just enjoy my meal in silence. And it was interesting because you get to think and whatever, but I started to listen to the conversations going around me. And it's like people just talk for the sake of talking. Like we just say a lot of stupid stuff just because like we are uncomfortable with silence. And we don't know how just to be silent and just to be present and enjoy the moment and do all these things. And I was literally laughing to myself, not judging, but just laughing at like how many words we say and how many words we use to fill silence and space instead of just being present and in the moment. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed not having to speak a lot. And when I did, it was nice to speak with purpose and intention and to use my words with care and caution. So that was really nice. And, you know, in the silence, I was also allowed to think and process and to not have so many voices in my, you know, coming in my direction in my head. And I was able to really listen to what I was feeling. I was able to listen to what I was thinking. I was able to listen to kind of how some of the stories that I've created in my head have allowed me to feel certain ways or to act certain ways or to react certain ways. So it was nice just to kind of decompress. So that was another beautiful thing about it, was just silence and not being afraid of it, not being afraid just to be quiet and still. That was really nice. Going back home, I know I'm gonna go back home to just noise and chatter and talk, which I love everyone in my life, but it was really nice just to take some time just to be quiet and be in the silence. So, you know, the first, you know, I talked about, you know, just being selfish, and then, you know, really getting comfortable with the silence. And I think the third thing that really hit me was just this like solidarity in myself. You know, I think just like really connecting with myself and being in solidarity with who I really am and being able to connect with that authentic core of myself. Because, you know, when you're out and about and you're interacting with people and you're in your day job and you're doing all these roles and responsibilities, you lose yourself. You're always kind of molding and shifting. And even if you're super authentic and you show up authentic every single day, it still it's impossible, because we're always being influenced by people's energies and moods and behaviors and words and actions and responses and reactions. And it really allowed me to just kind of like really like crack myself open and start to pick and choose and to kind of get my hands dirty on some inner work of some of the things that I kind of came here with, some of the baggage that I had, some of the things that I was struggling with, and it just allowed me to really like process things a lot differently, because I wasn't getting advice from other people. I wasn't, you know, letting certain things influence me. And it allowed me to not only get solidarity and get kind of like clear truth about who I am and some of my things and some of the stuff that I still need to work on, and also gave me some time to look at how far I've come and all of that. But it also gave me perspective on, there are certain people in my life right now, that certain people and certain situations where I'm struggling a little bit. I'm struggling with how to handle certain situations and certain people. I'm struggling with how to make certain decisions professionally and personally. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of go on, and I never really had time just to sit with myself and question and inquire about all these things and really like think through them and talk through them with myself. And I realized that I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. I realized that I'm a lot braver than I thought. You know, brave is my word for 2018, and I was able to really look at how I've been brave, and how I want to continue to be brave. I got to think more and to be more clear on who I wanted to be, like the type of daughter and the type of, you know, entrepreneur and the type of partner and, you know, friend. I just was able to really start to think about that and to really come together with myself. So, you know, I highly recommend, like, take some time. If you can't do a trip by yourself, if you're not there yet, like, it's so important to spend time with yourself. It's so important to have those moments where you can be selfish, where you can be silent, where you can be still, and you can come to solidarity with yourself. because it's important and it's a part of self-love. And that's the bigger part, because I feel like I'm going to go back home with a lot more clarity and a lot more confidence in who I am, what I want, and confidence in how to deal and process and engage and respond and react. And I think that's what we all need. We all need that. We need that because our lives are busy. Our lives are stressed. Our lives are constantly on the go, and we're always having to consider other people and other things. And every now and then it's so important to take those times on a big scale like this, going on a trip by yourself, and just kind of rediscovering and reconnecting, or just taking 30 minutes or taking yourself to dinner or going for a walk and just turning everything off. So that's one thing that I wanted to take back home with me is being more intentional about spending time with myself, and keeping this vibe going when I get back. And I'm already thinking about my next solo trip because I do think it's really important. And what I do find is that, well, we'll see. But my hope is that when I go back home, people are going to feel and notice the difference in me, but it's going to all be for the good. And it's all going to be something that will allow me to show up in a much more richer and fulfilling and purposeful and intentional way in my job, in my personal life, in my love life, in every aspect of my life. And that's what I'm excited about. So that's it. That's kind of my takeaway. I mean, it was interesting because, people were really concerned, and it's just cool to know that you can do it, and it's not as scary as you think it can be. So I'd love to hear if you've ever done a trip or done something solo that you're afraid of, and I'd love to hear what was your experience like, and what did you learn, and how did you grow from it? I would love to hear that, because I think my story is just a small piece of a puzzle, but the more that we share and talk about this and encourage others and give our best tips on how to do it and make it not feel weird or icky or odd. So share, comment, let me know. But it was a really great time, and I'm glad I did it. So I'm about to go check out and head back home to San Francisco after this amazing few days away with myself.